It's time for the Movin The Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
Welcome in to Movin The Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps, Jerel, Hendricks on the board. As always, here for our Round 3 playoff preview special for South Carolina high school football. John, Round 2 was a lot of really good action, man. We saw some upsets, saw some blowouts, but unlike last week, I think we did lose a few pretty heavy contenders, it feels like.
Yeah, lost a couple that I really liked, and a couple games I really didn't see coming.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But this round is locked and loaded, man. You know, it's a little bit weird. Typically, that Thanksgiving week is the upper and lower state championship round. This year, it's actually a week earlier because of the way the extension has worked out now with the season with the Helene extension there. But it'll be a lot of fun. As always, guys, follow us here on Facebook at Movin Chains, on Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We can always do our live preview shows Tuesday nights about 7:15, 7:30 on Facebook and YouTube. You can talk about the week's games. A lot of fun to do that. We have our recap show comes out on the Sunday night, Monday morning platform there on the podcast. We have great content, great coach interviews, play reviews all throughout this week on our other social pages as well. So check out all of that stuff. Get your Movin The Chains merch. We've got some great toboggans right now. A great gray one, a great black one. Love to have you pick that up. Support the boys here. You can email mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. We've got some great Richardson hats, a gray, kind of gray and gray, a gray and black. We got a black on gray back here as well. Lots of great Richardson hats for you guys. Some T-shirts, a black T-shirt, a gray T-shirt, a navy blue T-shirt, also a pink T-shirt for the ladies. Love to have you get that. Support the boys. And then the hoodies as well. Kind of a stone/white along with the gray one. You can get that. Small logo on the front, big logo on the back. Love to have you have that and support us. It's cold enough now where you can wear a hoodie at games, so make sure you get those to support us. Love to have you do that. John, any other thoughts before we roll into the CONA games of the week? Jerel, any other comments need to pop up right quick? But as always, once again, email mtcgear.sc@gmail.com for your order or send it to us on social media. Chris is what's up, guys? Good to see you, Chris. Big game for the Indians this week. Deidre says, big Lewisville Road Warriors. Yes, sir. They're going on the road to HKT. We'll talk about it here in a minute for sure. Derek says, how about them Patriots? Huge win for the boys. 9 in a row now. Get another tough task against BHP this week. Deshaun, the Camden Bulldogs. Huge win for them last week. Did not see that coming. They go on the road to beat a good Wren team late. Brandon says, going to be a battle. Batesburg-Leesville at Clinton Friday night. Yes, sir. That will be a very good one in the 2A Upper State ranks. Zach says, good evening, boys. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, Zach. Appreciate you as well, man. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in like always. Going to be a great ball game over there in Clinton. Big Batesburg-Leesville says, Cam, hey, man, that is a heavyweight matchup we're going to see on Friday night. Kevron says, happy Thanksgiving. This is from Coach, South Carolina. Appreciate you, Kevron. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. Patrick, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. I know we missed you a little bit, but hey, playoff time. The Indians are still playing ball. Glad to have you in here as always. Tyler, yeah, what's up, buddy? Yes, this is the point of the season where we pick our CONA games of the week. We could pick every game to be a CONA game. They're that big.
All big games now.
Travis says, let's go West Side. They are hot. They are rolling. They get a shot at Camden this week. Malcolm says it's North. Hey, I mean, that offense, the defense, everybody's playing great for the Yellow Jackets. Agree with you, Reed. They're playing great football. Christmas. It's can't wait for Friday. Me too, my man. Be a lot of great action across the Palmetto State. Any other thoughts, John, from you before we roll
let's get into it.
Our CONA games of the week, our Carolina Orthopedic Neurosurgical Associates games of the week, 5 of the biggest ones across the state. Let's start with that game down in 1A, the Adrian just mentioned there. The Lewisville Lions at 11-1, traveling to take on the 10-1 Hunter-Kinard-Tyler Trojans. Lewisville actually beat the Trojans 44-16 back in week 1. A lot has changed since that time, of course. Lewisville, 39-0 win over RSM last week, averaging 38 on offense, 8 on defense. HKT, a 46-13 win over Dixie. Decay, as we've been told to call them there, 39 on offense, 13 on defense. John, at this point in the season, like we mentioned, everybody's good. You don't expect to see a game that's as lopsided as the first one, but, what do you think happens between the Lions and the Trojans here?
I think we're going to see a much closer game. But I still see Lewisville scoring 30, 40 points. And I don't know. I think Hunter-Kinard-Tyler is awesome. They've been playing great football lately. Lewisville's been doing it for a couple of years now. I think Lewisville, I just don't know that HKT can keep up with them offensively on Friday to win this game. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout. And I think Lewisville, I think their offense has been more consistent over the course of the season. I like Lewisville to win this.
Yeah, Lewisville quarterback Zach Rogers, 2 rush touchdowns last week. Running back Jordan Strong had 3 touchdowns as well. Receivers Tay Robinson, Ja Hauser, threats out wide. Defensively, JB Buchanan, Elijah Baker are playing really good. You mentioned them being hot. Middle of the season, you feel like they weren't playing their best football. They have turned it on as of late. The last 5 games, 246-21. Just absolutely dominating folks on both sides of the football. The Trojans, head coach Jermaine Derricott has done a great job there with them. They had some turnover problems early on in the season. They've kind of cleaned that up and played a lot better football as of late. Quarterback Amir Creer, Darian Stroman, Trenton Summers are playmakers for them. They've got 3 offensive linemen who have played a lot of football for them. The defensively, they're led by the linebackers Ross and Peoples. The front 7's strong, big, they're physical. And, this is a program that has been on the rise. They won 10 games last year. They've won 10 games again this year. And you think HKT has obviously gotten a lot better since week 1. But I think Lewisville probably has too. And that game was 44-16. It was 8-0 HKT. They actually picked off a tipped screen pass, ran it back to the house for a pick 6. Lewisville then proceeded to score 44 unanswered before HKT got a garbage time touchdown late in that one. So not a close game at all that time around. And while I think that HKT is very good, look what they did to Blackfield Hill a couple weeks ago, man. They just dominated those guys. I think they're going to try to be big and physical and beat you up front. But I think Lewisville is just playing such good football right now. I think the Lions win again.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're just too good. They're Lewisville's right up there with Abbeville all year long in 1A. I think they are. HKT's probably, for me, they're probably the number 3 team in the state right now, behind Lewisville and Abbeville.
They are one of the better squads for sure. And it's weird, John. You always say hard to beat a good team twice, hard to beat a good team 3 times, however many it is. But
they blew them out though.
And we're going to see a theme of that. There's a lot of rematches this week. Actually, you're going to see a lot of that. But this is one where I think these are probably 2 different teams from when they played the first time around, of course. But I still think Lewisville, too much firepower on offense, especially. They are clicking on all cylinders. I think Coach Usher and the boys advance to that upper state title game next week. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this 1A matchup?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief, man. I think we definitely see a much closer game this time around. Obviously, that was a blowout the first time they matched up. But I'm just so impressed by Decay. Like, man, they have really turned it on. They've proven it's not a fluke. Back-to-back years having great seasons so far. Lewisville, though, can they get over the hump? I think that's the biggest question for me. Obviously new coaching staff, a lot of guys that have played a lot of high leverage games, not having to go up against one of those private schools from Greenville County this time. So that should be an advantage for them. But I like Lewisville to win this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. These are 2 fantastic programs. I think we're in for a fantastic matchup as well.
Certainly should be a good one. Any fan comments on this one, Jerel? Najee says, Decay. Najee, the boys are playing great, man. This has been a great season. Going to be tough this week for sure. Dadrian says, dressed in all black. Hey, I like that all black look, man. Those are good uniforms for the Lions for sure. Going to be a lot of fun. Tay Robinson, that guy, he certainly is explosive outside. Duran, you are right about that.
That's all I have concerning this game right now, guys.
Perfect. And I do want to go ahead and apologize to everybody. Jerel's filming this show in a microwave, it looks like there. The quality of Jerel's footage is not the best. We apologize for Jerel using his cheese grater to video himself this week.
Hey, got to make it happen.
I love it, man. Our second ball game here, a big-time 2A matchup. Cheraw, the Braves at 10-2, traveling to take on Barnwell at 11-1. Cheraw actually 9-3 on the field. That Marlboro County game ended up being forward. They got the win for that, put them at 10-2. The Braves 35-0 over East Clarendon last week, averaging 26 on offense, 12 on defense. Quarterback Caden Thomas, running back Justin Joy had 2 touchdowns. Receivers Nick Gordon and Deshaun Drake. A good offensive line, defensively led by Crawford Poole, 6 tackles, 1 TFL. D-Man Ellerby, 6 tackles, 2 TFLs. Anthony Strong, 7 tackles. Jaden Caraway and Robert Brown as well. The Barnwell side, they shut out Timberland 21-0 last week. 30 points per game on offense, 9 allowed on defense. Quarterback Cam Austin, a touchdown pass and a touchdown run. Logan Sturkey had a TD catch, but he's really probably a bigger factor in the run game as a blocker and also on defense. He is a guy that gets involved all over the field for them. Receivers, a couple options out wide with William Robinson. He's really stepped up big. Jaquan Peoples as well. Running back Nehemiah Brown, defensively led by Edie and Thomas. Kicker Lane Evans, 2 field goals last week. That's always big this time of year, and especially the 2A level. If you got a guy who can make some field goals, that could be clutch in that one. John, this is a big time matchup between the Braves and the Warhorses here, going on down at I believe it's W.W. Carter Stadium down there in Barnwell, Macquarie Field. Who do you like in this 2A matchup?
I think Barnwell. For me, Barnwell's always good, right? You never doubt Barnwell, but for me, what I think was really the statement for them was later in the season, going on the road and being Hampton County, and being by 2 scores, kind of being convincingly. They beat a Goodwill Branch team a couple weeks ago as well, or finale of the regular season. Cheraw, they've been great. I mean, they've given up, haven't given up points since November 1st. 3 games ago. It's
pretty tough.
Chesterfield beat Chesterfield 45-7. I think Cheraw is very good. They've improved tremendously this season. They obviously have a lot of talent there. If this game is in Cheraw, I would, hey, maybe a toss up here. I think being in Barnwell, they know the territory. This is a familiar atmosphere, familiar game for them. This is a big stage for Cheraw, big time stage, and I think Cheraw is probably going to be around next year as well. They've got a pretty young team from what I understand. I think Barnwell wins, though. Being at home, they've got the experience, and I think they're a little bit better. I think Cheraw will keep this game. I think it's probably a 10-point game. But I think Barnwell is just a little bit better in this one.
This is a game where, I think both teams are clicking on both sides. I mentioned last week they both had shutouts. They're playing great on both sides of the football. 2 games that we thought might be kind of dicey for them. I thought Timberland especially would give Barnwell a hard time, and the Warhorses had none of that, man. Just dominated all game long. The worry for me on the Cheraw side, health a little bit, been a little bit banged up lately, and then the passing game has not really been there. They've been relying on they run a lot, which is fine until you run into a team that is going to shut that down. Maybe that's this week. We'll see. But it should be a great ball game. I'll say this, and one thing that is interesting to me, I feel like Cheraw kind of got written off a little bit early. I know we talked about in the previous show before the season started, we were really high on them. They play a super tough non-region. Guys like Conway and Marlboro County, River Bluff. They took some lumps early on, and that, kind of set them behind in people's minds, but really they use that to get better, of course. And that's why going into this game, I think Cheraw will be the best team that Barnwell has played so far this year, but I don't think Barnwell is the best team that Cheraw has played this year. I mean, Cheraw has played River Bluff, who is, I guess 9-2, 10-2 now, whatever it was.
Good 5-8 team.
They played some really good squads there. I will say this: I think this game is the lower state title. I think whoever wins this wins next week and goes to Orangeburg. I think this game is that big. I don't know if Phillips Cummings or Manning has anything for these 2 guys. I think Coach Poole or Coach Smith's bunch, one of them are going to be in the state title. And I'm going to lean. Oh, man, this is tough. I love both these teams. I've been hollering them all year long. I'm going to lean Cheraw on the road. I think they get it going. I think these young guys step up, make one more big play.
Okay.
But I think it's a very, very tight football game. Like I said, I think either one of these teams are capable of going all the way to the state title. So it should be a heck of a matchup over in Barnwell. Jerel, Who do you like in this game? What's the chat saying about this big 2A lower state matchup?
I'll stay lurking in the shadows since my
No, come on.
so
I didn't shame you. Come on, Jerel.
I feel shamed right now. I don't know. It's really bad. So yeah, look at, you're just laughing right now. No, this is a tough one. I don't really know. I'm surprised you took Cheraw. I'm really shocked because I was going to take them if you didn't, because I like to be a contrarian on this show, because I think both of these teams are evenly matched. I think it's going to be very, very low scoring. Really excited what's going to happen here, but I'm going to go with Barnwell since you actually made the upset pick 2 weeks in a row. I like that you did that there. So, but I'm going with Barnwell.
Well, who do you really want to pick then?
No, I just like being a contrarian, so I'm going to go with Barnwell. I think Barnwell's been the better team all year. Obviously, Cheraw had a tough non-region. I mean, I don't think anybody in 2A played, as difficult of a non-region as they did. But I like Barnwell. I like their senior leadership there.
I was going to say, a key in the games like this a lot of times is the quarterback spot. And, while Cheraw's got a young quarterback in Kane Thomas, Barnwell's got a stud senior in Cam Lawson. The guy that's played a lot of football, man, is used to the big stage, can certainly make it happen in games like this. I do want to ask you guys, Jerel and John, both, the statement I made about this being the lower state title, do y'all kind of see that as well? What do y'all think is going to happen? Because I think these two teams are very, very good, and I think either one of them can certainly win again next week.
I think Manning could – I'll say this. I think Manning could be either one of them, and I think Philip Simmons can beat Manning. So with that said, I don't think it's all said and done, but I don't know that any of the four teams in the lower state are going to win in Orangeburg. I think the upper state is really good. I'm
with John here. I think we're discredit. I think we have not shown Philip Simmons enough love this year. Obviously, Manning, that was an impressive come from behind overtime win, over a very good Hampton County bunch. I don't think we can say that the winner of this game is going to be in for it next. I think all four of these teams who are still left have a good chance to make it to Orangeburg.
All right. Well, I'll say it. They'll put me in the video. I don't care. Whatever. I'll say it. What's the chat saying about this matchup here, Jerel? Roberts has 5,000 yards of career from Cam with 2,000 rushing. That's pretty impressive there, man. He's a heck of an athlete. We know he's a great baseball player as well. Gets it done all over the field. Braley says, what's up, guys? Doing well, man. Appreciate you hopping in here as always. Robert says, Barnwell. I mean, and we say this in the playoffs for like every week, John. At this point, everybody's good. Either team could win for sure. Malcolm picks Barnwell as well. Barnwell Clinton for the title, says Tyler. Calling the shot. I like it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Deshandra says, Cheraw Braves, hometown proud. I like it. Yes, sir. Yes, they are playing great over there. Danger's going with Cheraw Fairfield Central for the state game. Okay. I like that. Chris says 3-hour plus ride for Cheraw. Ouch. Yeah, not an easy road trip for sure. And it's funny because Cheraw's one of those teams that has bounced from upper to lower sometimes. So they get that region goes back and forth. So this year with them winning that region, they come down to lower state.
To anybody.
Tyler says Barnwell usually stops to run. Straw's halfback is pretty good. That's the matchup for this game. Yeah, and I know Cam McClendon, I think, is out. He's been out. I don't think he's back. Justin Joyne has stepped in and played well in his, in place of him. So we'll see if he can get another big game. Yeah, I think he had 220 plus a couple weeks back. So we'll see how that goes. Damien says, go Braves.
That's all the comments we have for this game, guys.
Our third CONA game of the week, another 2A matchup, John. Batesburg-Leesville, the Panthers at 12-0, traveling to Clinton, the Red Devils at 9-2 over at Wilder Stadium. Last year, Clinton defeated Batesburg-Leesville 50-28 in our early season matchup. Last week, the Panthers 49-14 over Andrew Jackson, 40 points per game on offense, 8 allowed per defense on the season. Clinton 48-20 over a red-hot Chester team last week, averaging 42 on offense, 20 allowed per game on defense. John, the upper state 2A playoffs have been a just absolute gauntlet for everybody. Yeah. I mean, there are so many loaded teams up there, and these are two teams here that I think we all had on our list of could win the whole thing when the playoffs started.
Yeah, for sure. You can never take Clinton lightly, and then the way that Batesburg-Leesville has played this year has just been nothing short of incredible. This is a really fun game, and it's for the Panthers. I feel a little bit bad for them because they've had such a good season. They've been, I think they've been number one in our poll, I think the entire season.
I believe since they beat Abbeville, they really jumped up. I think they've been right there. I know Clinton maybe had a couple weeks at one as well, but they've both been up very high.
And for all that, your reward for an upper state semifinal you got to go to Clinton and
Yeah.
play them. You know, and we thought, you know, we saw Chester play 2 weeks ago. Chester I wasn't surprised Clinton beat him. I was surprised they blew him out because of the speed that we saw at Chester. And we know Chester can play pretty good defense. They, you know, they're okay against Strom Thurmond, but I mean, Clinton blew them out last week.
Yeah, it wasn't as close as the score, really.
Yeah, and that was a little surprising. I'm glad I don't, you know, my job doesn't depend or my paycheck doesn't depend on making a pick for this game, because I'm thinking Batesburg-Leesville, they've got, I'm not even gonna say they have the better resume per, you know, really, but I think they've had the better season, I would say. But I think Clinton is really, really good. They've got a really good home atmosphere. And there's a little bit of, and I said this last week too, there's a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, a little bit of a revenge factor for the Red Devils too, because they've bouted with injuries last couple of years when they have been just as good, maybe even better last year or two. But this year they're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is, you know, this is a great spot for them to be in. I think it's a little bit of an upset, but I think Clinton's going to beat them.
Batesburg-Leesville, and their win last week was a record-breaking win. Quarterback Tanner Watkins broke the all-time career passing record for the Panthers. Running back Amadre Wooden rushed for a school record 334 on the game, John. Crossed 2,000 for the season. I think it became the fifth back in Batesburg history to get 2,000 on the year. Receiver Jamarius Clark is a stud out wide along with KD Witt. Defensively, John Sawyer, a north-south guy. Clarence Springs as a downhill safety who loves to hit back there. Hansel Deskua, Weiler, Wooten, Christian Burkett. They have 5 shutouts this season, John. Very impressive for the Panthers. On the Clinton side, Tyshawn Richardson's dual threat. He had a touchdown pass and run last week. Running back Javen Cook, 14 for 131 touchdown. The star of the game came out of nowhere. Rhett Gilliam, 20 carries for $165 and 2 TDs. They had 433 rush yards on the game as a squad there. Devin Swindler's a receiving threat out wide. Defensively, Luke and Brett Young. Brett had a pick last week. Both had 6 tackles. Kason Copeland, Austin Boyd had a pick. Chris Boyd as well. Just a fantastic win for both of these programs. I want to circle back to KD Witt for Batesburg-Leesville. Some stats on KD Witt. He's one of my favorite players, a great athlete out there. He has 18 touchdowns on the season, John. 9 receiving, 4 rushing, 2 kickoff returns, a punt return, and 2 pick sixes. So he's getting it done all over the field. Love that from KD there. On the Clinton side, I mentioned 432 last week on the ground. They've rushed for 276 in 6 straight games. Getting it done on the ground for Coach Fountain there. This is a big-time matchup. You know, I think a key for Clinton, it seems like all year long, they start fast. They start hot. You know, last week they were up 21-6 after a quarter, 28-6 at the half. They come out firing all cylinders. If you're Batesburg-Leesville, you've got to kind of, weather that early onslaught from the Red Devils.
Yeah. You know, and also for Clinton, I think you got to be patient, because I don't think that's going to happen this week. I don't think by any means Clinton's going to go out there and blow them out. Yeah, I don't know if either team scores 30 in this game, but I think Clinton can be patient. I think they're extremely well coached. They've got experience, and they've got another great thing for the Red Devils is they got multiple weapons. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not relying on one guy. You know, they can spread the ball around. They give a lot to think about for the defense to defend and cover. So that makes it very tough for Batesburg-Leesville. It's gonna be a great game. And you know, for Batesburg-Leesville, I think you look and they got very good quarterback playing Watkins, obviously a very good running back and Wooten as well. They're a very good team, but you know, we saw them in that Saluda game, and you know, they were good. You know, they moved the ball. They dominated that game. They scored 28 points. You know, and then a couple of weeks ago against Strom Thurmond, you know, it was really they lost that game. They lost that game. You know, I know 8-7 scoreboard says they won it. We know the situation. Yeah. Strom Thurmond had to be in by
13, whatever it was.
Whatever it was. So they pressed. They went for it on 4th down. We saw Strom Thurmond play against Chester. You know, that's if they have that kind of game, they might get blown out.
Yeah.
Saluda or not Saluda. Batesburg-Leesville has got the weapons on offense to win this game. I don't like their weapons as much as I like Clinton's. I like the Batesburg-Leesville defense better, But I think the fact that you're at home, I like that better. And I'm looking at the schedules and I go, what is Clinton's worst game this season? You know, they lost a really tight game to Woodruff.
Yep.
And that was you were at that game.
Had a chance to win late. Yeah.
They're right there. And they lost to Daniel 37-12. I mean, you know, that's, you're going to say losing to Daniel is the worst game of your year. You know, the teams they should beat, the teams they are, you know, same size level with, they have played extremely well. Batesburg-Leesville, they've had, you know, that Strom Thurmond game just stands out to me. I know that's a bit of a rivalry game. There's a lot on the line for that. But I trust Clinton. I just trust Clinton more, especially at home.
Yeah, two coaches that are used to the big time. You know, Corey Fountain has had great success at Clinton, also had it at Lamar before this. Greg Lawson has had success everywhere at Union. I think he was a Gaffney. I mean, he's been a winner. They know how to get it done in November. And, you know, I do think Clinton may have had one injury up front. I don't know if he's back or not. Zach may know about it. I don't know. But they've got obviously Trey Aiken, the big left tackle that everybody wants. He's a stud. And I think I'm going to go Clinton because I think I like them a little bit better up front. I think that's the key for me is I think they can kind of impose their will a hair on both sides of the ball on the offensive and defensive line there, which in this time of year is huge. I think it's a very tight ball game, but I think Clinton over at Wilder Stadium, the big line play up front, I think leads him to a victory. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this one? You know, we're both going Clinton here, but I mean, this is a heavyweight matchup.
Yeah, behemoth matchup here. I mean, we talked about it on the recap show a couple days ago. You get to the third round. I mean, these are teams that can win the state title. I mean, everybody who's involved. This is a state title caliber matchup here. Seeing both of these teams, so that makes it even more difficult. I got to disagree a little bit with John when it comes to the offensive weapons. I think both squads are pretty equal. I think it boils down to defense. I think whoever gets the most stops and who can limit the big play. As you know, if you let Wooden get loose or you let Cook get loose or something like that on either side, I think that's going to sway momentum and that could sway the game. Like this game being played at Wilder Stadium, Batesburg-Leesville's been deserving of the number one spot all year. Clinton, they had a couple losses, but you guys mentioned it. They lost to some really good teams here. I think Clinton's just a little bit better of a team, and they get to play at home. So I'm going to go with the Red Devils, but this should be another great game here in the third round.
Certainly it should be. What's the chat saying about this one, Jerel? Vincent says, Big Batesburg for the win. Bradley says, Clinton probably squeezed by. Give him a fight. Yeah, it will be a great ball game, Bradley. Exactly right about that. Wilson says, Clinton by 3 touchdowns. Whoa. Love to hear that, man. You know, hey, they blew out a good Chester team. Certainly could happen. Nathan said move from 3 to 2A is a factor for Clinton. He's playing bigger teams. Great point. And I think this year they've got the bigger line, which is going to help them out. Wilson says Clinton blew out 2 years in a row. Exactly right. Deshandra says her boy Tanner has been hot. Yeah, Tanner, I mean, all-time career passing record. He's been great. Been great for the Panthers this season and his whole career, really. Jamie says Clinton running back always been good. They always have someone who can run the rock. Exactly right there. Even back to the Reader days and whoever else. Wooden is the nephew of the best running back in school history. It's in his blood, says Chris. Good to know. Very cool, Chris. Appreciate the stats on that. The little knowledge there. Brandon says good pick. Clinton beats him for the 3rd year in a row. I know you'll be down there. Should be good. Malcolm says he wants to see BL on that one. Going to be a great game. Zach says whoever controls the front 7 wins the game. I agree with you there, Zach. I think that's what it comes down to, man. Who can dominate the line of scrimmage? Wesley says BL only played 3 teams with a 500 or better record. Great point there. You know, and we thought that region was really tough. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. We'll see. Zach says the key for the Panthers is getting the passing game going. Clinton defense sees the Clinton running all the time practice. Going to get to control the clock of these 2 teams. Yeah, passing game is huge. If you could hit Witt or Clark for a couple of big plays early on, it really loosens it up, gives Wood some room in the middle. Great point there, Zach. Erica says, let's go Batesburg-Leesville Panthers. Nathan says Clinton has played throughout against better competition. I think so too, man. I think some of those early non-region matches they played were really helpful for this team, finding out what they got. Jamie says go Big Red. We all be down there. I don't know. Let's say the Clinton fans probably don't want us there. We've had some bad luck last couple times we went, so we'll see if we go or not.
I'll
not
probably
sure.
be in Daniel. I probably won't be at that game.
Not sure. Vincent says Batesburg's never been undefeated and lost a championship. Okay, good to know, Vincent. Good stats there. Hard to win in Clinton, says Duran. Exactly right, man. That's a tough place. Great fan base for sure. Going to be a great atmosphere on Friday.
And Chris, no, I have not learned my lesson. I picked against you guys again. I don't know what's wrong with me. Hopefully, you guys can rub it in my face. We'll see what happens.
We should ask Jerel. Jerel, are you going down there to Wilder Stadium on Friday?
Don't know yet. I'm still undecided. I just got into South Carolina like an hour ago, so I'm still undecided.
I love it. And Zach, if you're here as well, can you give us some insight on Rhett Gilliam? Where did he come from? It's been Javen Cook with the big games all year long. Gilliam with the breakout performance. What happened differently last week to get him going? Love to hear from you on that here in a minute. Any other comments, Jerel, on this Batesburg-Leesville Clinton matchup?
Let's roll to the next game, guys.
Our fourth CONA game of the week, a 5A matchup, John. Always a lot of fun when these two get together. And that's TL Hanna, the Yellow Jackets at 9-2, traveling to the reservation. The Indians of Gaffney are 9-1. TL Hanna, a big win over Catawba Ridge, 57-34 last week, averaging 40 points per game on offense, 26 allowed on defense, They had 463 yards of offense last week. Quarterback Brandon Cunningham is one of the fastest kids I've seen play this year. Absolute dynamic athlete back there. Running back Katie Patterson, a $188 and a touchdown. Dalen Williams, Walker Kelly also had touchdowns. Also had a special teams and a defensive score in that win over Catawba Ridge. Defensively by Cam Strong, the NC State commit. Jamirian Oliver as well as a big-time player for them. Gaffney beat Riverside 41-21. Bigger spread than the first time. They played very well last week. Averaging 32 points per game on offense, 16 allowed on defense. Quarterback Javon Gilmore, 16 for 22, 203, 2 touchdowns through the air. Another rush touchdown. Jaden McDowell getting healthier and healthier, 14 for 73 and 2 touchdowns. DeMarcus Smith, 9 catches for $119 and a TD. Also had a rush touchdown to go along with that. Receiver Shane Davidson, he's a weapon outside. He had the big game against Spartanburg a couple weeks ago. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. So he's a weapon for them. Defensively, Andrew Root, 6 tackles, 2 TFLs. Josh Corey, Zion Ratchford on the back end. Really good on that side, as always, for the Indians, John. This is a matchup I feel like we've seen in the playoffs a lot over the years, and it seems like always really good football games come out of it. Who do you like? TL Hanna with that tough-to-defend offense. Can they go on the road and make something happen?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly can. What stands out to me is, and I look at games because I've seen Gaffney play once this year. I've not seen TL Hanna play. I saw Gaffney play J.L. Mann. I was a barn burner, and Gaffney was kind of lucky to win that game. TL Hanna against that same J.L. Mann team, they blew them out.
Yeah.
But I think, that stands out to me as going, ooh, boy, Gaffney could have their hands full. But, we know TL Hanna they've got that wing T type option style offense. They do a really good job with it. And this is, I mean this in a good way. I know this is going to sound bad, but they have a good system and they run that system really well. Gaffney, on the other hand, they're really good because they have really good athletes. Now they have good coaching as well. And obviously they have their scheme, but to me, it's a little bit different. I think Gaffney, TL Hanna's good because they have a really good system. They play good defense. They're good. Gaffney, they got more athletes. They've got the home field advantage, and they've been playing really good the last couple of weeks. I thought Gaffney, I kind of wrote off Gaffney. They had, a handful of weeks.
Look kind of sloppy a little bit.
3-4 games in a row where they were not scoring. I think Gilmore even got benched for a little bit. But then they came out against Spartanburg and beat them.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the hottest teams in the state, beat them in a close game. They took care of business against Riverside last week. Gaffney is playing better football now. I think they've got their confidence back. They've gotten their rhythm back now. And they're at home. I think Gaffney wins this game. I think TL Hanna can certainly win. TL Hanna wins if Gaffney beats themselves. And I'm not saying that Gaffney is that much better than TL Hanna, because they're not. But I think that is how TL Hanna can win this game. If Gaffney makes some mistakes. Because TL Hanna, I don't think they're going to make a ton of mistakes. Maybe they put the ball on the ground, but I doubt it. They're a well-disciplined group. They play good brand of football. If Gaffney comes out there, they make a ton of penalties. They turn the ball over. Gilmore doesn't have a good game, or McDowell doesn't. McDowell's been banged up a little bit. If somebody gets hurt, that opens the door. But I think I like Gaffney in this game, unless something crazy happens, which is weird because in games where something crazy happens, it typically means Gaffney wins a game and they probably shouldn't. Which, heck, that may happen tonight. That may happen Friday night. Who knows? I think we'll see a really good game. TL Hanna's going to give them all they want. It's going to be an awesome, awesome game. I'd love to see a list of playoff games between these two, because I bet it is pretty impressive how close and good at games these two programs have played over the years.
Yeah, and it's kind of, the cliche thing to say against these type of offenses, but the key is you can't get behind those guys who are going to run the clock. You can't get behind them. They're going to, milk it, and you can't turn it over. And if they get an early lead, they're going to grind it out. You want to get the lead on them so they can't catch up. And that's all the stuff that's cliche, and I get that. But I think TL Hanna and their system with Coach Tone, they don't panic if they do get behind. So if they get behind 7-0, 14-0, whatever, they're not going to worry yet. We saw them in the Wren game that Jerel and I saw them play earlier this year. They were down, I believe, 14-0, and they came back to win that matchup. Like, they're not scared to trail like a lot of teams who run the type of offense are. Like, they're okay. They will stay within themselves and make plays. So we'll see. I mean, I think TL Hanna certainly has a shot, because that's a type of team to play for and prepare for. At the 4A and 5 level, you don't see much of that, man. Like, I don't think Gaffney has played a team all year who does that type of offense. I don't believe.
I don't think
so. You're just kind of working on a week right quick of trying to get this film put together and get these adjustments set in your offense. And it's hard to do that sometimes. It's hard to make that happen. But both teams have really good athletes. I like Cunningham. I like Patterson and Strong a lot for TL Hanna. Obviously, Smith and McDowell and Gilmore and Root for Gaffney are great players. At the reservation, a tough place to win, as we know. I will say, I'm really excited to see the Cam Strong DB at TL Hanna match up against either Jamarcus Smith or Davidson, whoever. He is legit lockdown corner. See how that matchup goes. We'll see if he, follows Jamarcus or they keep him on one side. I don't know how that's going to go, but it'll be a lot of fun to watch. But I agree. I think Gaffney at home, the way they're playing right now, Gilmore seems to have kind of figured it out a little bit, getting McDowell healthier and healthier. I think they can control the ball enough on their side to pull away and win this game.
Yeah, TL Hanna can feast on teams that aren't super physical. I feel like JL Man, right or wrong, or people may say I'm right or wrong. TL Hanna matched up really well against a JL Man team that wants to spread it out, throw the ball around a little bit. Gaffney, you're not going to scare them by being physical. And I'll be interested to see if, I believe Surratt played a little bit on defensive line.
He has, yeah.
I would be interested to see if they plug Surratt in the middle of that defensive line again to try to clog up some holes and meet that physicality with physicality. Because I think that's a good recipe to neutralize that TL Hanna offense. But like you said, if TL Hanna gets behind, they scored 57 points last week. They're not hey, we're going to run the ball short in the game, and if we score 28, we're probably going to win the game. No, they can light it up. So it's going to be a fun battle to watch. If you love offensive line, defensive line play, this is going to be a great game to be.
Yeah, and I will say one more point on last week's game. TL Hanna gave up 34 to Cheraw Ridge. I think you can score some points on them. I think Gaffney has enough athletes to certainly do that. It feels to me also like a game where Andrew Root may have like 15, 20 tackles. Like this is like a game where old school hard-nosed linebacker is going to be all over the field. I think he may rack up the tackles on Friday night.
He's going to enjoy himself Friday.
No, get him a good cowboy collar. We'll be ready to rock and roll. Jerel, what do you like in this matchup? What's the chat saying about this game?
Yeah, Patrick, he hit it on the head. I mean, he said the last 3 matchups here in the playoffs between these teams, decided by a touchdown or less. This is a tough matchup with TL Hanna. I mean, it's just an offense that you don't see much at this level, and they have athletes to execute it. Brandon Cunningham, is one of the better athletes that I've seen play this year. Legit 4.4 speed. So if Andrew Root does have an issue tackling him, he's going to the house. It's a big play. That's the reason why they were able to score nearly 60 points last week. But I do like the way that Gaffney's playing as of late. They finally got that offense rolling, and the suspension, all kind of crazy stuff they've had going on this year. They've had an emotional year as well. I think they get it figured out. Chris mentioned I haven't learned my lesson picking against Batesburg-Leesville yet, but I have learned my lesson picking against Gaffney, especially in the playoffs at the reservation. So I'm going to go with the Indians in this one. Should be a fantastic game.
Certainly should be on Friday night. And two, it's a great uniform matchup too, man. Love the black and gold, kind of black and yellow on both sides there. Really fun to see those guys get together. Chris says Gaffney's rolling on again. They're playing great football. Chris has certainly turned around the last couple weeks. Patrick says we aren't Cheraw Ridge. Exactly right. And they scored 34. So I think you guys can make it, certainly light it up as well. Last week, had it decided by 7 or less. Exactly. Yeah, always great matchups, it feels like, in the playoffs. Going to come down to the Gaffney defense can handle the wing T. Yeah, that's exactly right, man. I think that's a great point. It says Jail Man was on a short week against that offensive Hanna. That's true. Yeah, that was one of the makeup games of that region there. Good point there, Nathan. Reservation will be rocking, says Chris. Gaffney by 3. I can't tell what the emoji. Oh, it's Yellow Jacket. Sorry, I got you, Loud. I got you, DJ Loud. Yes, okay. TL Hanna, he's picking TL Hanna. I like it. They've lost what 2 games, Greenwood and Westside. I mean, 2 pretty good football. 2 teams that are still playing. Put it that way for sure. For TL Hanna. Patriots came for 2 years in a row. Made him look silly the first year, second year, shut it down. DC knows what to do. Strat will play some nose guard. I like that. I like seeing that. TL Hanna knows how to run the clock out as well. Go for it on 4th down. Going to be tough. Certainly in every game at this point is tough. I mean, they're always going to be big matchups. Note on Roop, still got the boxing glove on. Okay. Good to know there. Good to know. But, hey, it's not going to slow him down. He'll be out there ready to rock, I'm sure.
Let's go to the next game, guys.
Our 5th CONA game of the week, a huge matchup here in 4A. John, South Pointe, the Stallions at 10-2, traveling to take on the Daniel Lions, who are 11-1. South Pointe, big win over Greer, 56-17 last week, averaging 50 per game on offense, 10 allowed on defense. Daniel, a 48-36 win over Richmond Northeast, averaging 47 on offense, 18 on defense. John, these are 2 heavyweights. We talked about it all year long. 4A Upper State, it felt like there were kind of levels to it where we felt like we felt like Westside, Daniel, and South Pointe were really a level above the rest of that Upper State 4A. And we get 2 of those heavy hitters going out of here in round 3.
Yeah, I think I've probably been a little harsh on South Pointe since we've been doing the show, because I think every single year they have got as much talent as, just about anybody in the state from a total roster perspective. And this year's really no difference, that they got great talent as well this year. But the difference with the team this year is they have played much more consistently. And I know you and Jerel saw them play against Camden. And I mean, we can cover that game in about 4 seconds. Yeah. But I feel like every year South Pointe I've seen them play Gaffney a couple times. I've seen them in a couple different games where you see the talent's there. You see the ability is there, but they, just make some bonehead mistakes or some bad penalties, just get in their own way a little bit, trip themselves up a little bit. And from what their resume has been this year, they have not had that happen. For Camden, for instance, I mean, for what they did in the first half, you could trip over yourself for the running clock in the second half, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They have been incredibly impressive. Daniel, on the other hand, has been, I don't know if there's been a more consistent program outside of Daniel and Dutch Fork the last, 5-10 years.
Abbeville is the only other one probably.
Abbeville, you can throw Abbeville in there too. And, Daniel very consistently, and it's every year it's like every year they have a different quarterback. Every year they have, it's sort of like every 2 years they have, okay, well, they don't have Eli Murphy anymore. Okay, well, now they got this guy. Hey, they don't have Myson Kelly anymore. Well, now they got this guy. They just reload every year. And I feel like every year we talk about Daniel, and in the back of my head, I go, well, I just don't know how explosive they are. And then they play Camden in the state championship that's got this all-world defense, and they score 45, 56 points on them, in the state championships and win the game because Camden just can't stop them. I think this game is going to be super exciting because if South Pointe comes out and they play like they've played all year, they don't beat themselves, I think they're the better team in this game. And I hope Nathan is up getting a drink or in the bathroom or something and doesn't hear this. But I think South Pointe's going to beat them. I don't think they're going to blow them out, but I think they've got a chance to win this game convincingly. I think South Pointe is that doggone good this year. They are really, really good. I don't know if there's anybody in the state that can blow out Daniel, but if there is, South Pointe's on that short list. I think this is a game where I think South Pointe's going to win it, and I think they're going to win by 10. I think they are going to be, if they play their game, if they don't turn it over a ton of times, they don't commit a bunch of penalties, this could be the one game they do it, and Daniel beats them, 42-21, and we go, well, thanks for attending the Daniel Invitational. See you guys next year. But I think if South Pointe plays the way they've been playing this year, I'm thinking it's going to be like a 45-31 kind of game.
The Stallions, you mentioned they're rolling right now, John. Last week, Cam McMillan, the quarterback, 9 for 13, $172, 4 touchdowns. Mason Pickett-Hicks, 15 carries, 276, 3 touchdowns. He's got 2 touchdowns or more in 7 straight games now.
He's been there forever.
Receivers, Dalen Duncan, tight end Jordan Collins. But I believe he's a Navy commit, I think. 2 catches of 101, 2 more touchdowns for him. Offensive line led by Baxter and Victor Gore. Defensively, Daquan Evans, 13 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. R.J. Buford, Miles Wilson, athlete Jazavian Currents, a South Carolina commit, all over the field. He's a specimen out there. I think he's about 6'3", 220 or so. Big kid there on the back end for them. Akil Brown, a North-South guy, had 3 sacks last week. KJ Berg as well. All 10 wins for the Stallions, John, 28 or more points. All 10 wins, 28. That's 4 scores they won every game by.
It's incredible.
Very impressive for them. On the Daniel side, very good team as well. Grayson Clary, 13 for 20, $158, 2 touchdowns. Running back Kareem Shaw, 17 for 147, 2 TDs last week. Spencer Kahn, 8 carries for 199 and 2 touchdowns last week. Receiver Jason Bish, he's a big target outside for them. Defensively, Kahn had 10 tackles. Lee Turnipseed had 10 tackles at TFL. Dexter Johnson, 12 tackles. Defensive back Tremaine Davis kind of anchors that back in there. I mean, it's a big-time game, and I'm surprised you went South Pointe. That's kind of where I'm going, too. So, this game, I think these guys have played 3 times in the history, 2 times very close, 1 time not close. The last time, John, you'll probably remember this, 2018, the playoffs, Daniel pulls off a victory 50-49, double overtime. Tyler Venables runs in a touchdown. They go for 2. He gets the 2. A little bit controversial if he got in or not. I was trying to find the video to share tonight, and I couldn't get it to download correctly. Very tight to see if he got in or not. The ref took a little while to make the call. They gave him the 2, and the Lions won that. That was also the night that Straight Heron retired at South Pointe. They were defending state champs. So a big night back in 2018 when the Lions knocked off the Stallions on the road. I mean, this is a big-time game. And like you said, John, I feel like the South Pointe, for me, the big difference this year has been the quarterback play. I love Malachi Marshall the last couple of years. He was a really good player. He's a college quarterback for sure. But Cam McMillan is like a different level. We've seen him play football at the 2A level the last 2 years for Fairfield Central. Did a great job there. Comes up to 4A now. We're like, does it translate? We'll see. It translates. He's been a stud, man. He has been great all year long. South Pointe's 2 losses. Week, I think, 0 to Spartanburg by a point. They lose to Northwestern by 2 scores, 28-14 later on. Both those games, McMillan not fully healthy in that side. So they are a great football team. Daniel, they're always good. They're 1 loss to JL Man. I mean, no slouch in that. Another team that's still playing football, and they had a heck of a outing that night. They actually had a chance to win that game, I believe. They were fairly close in that one. So Daniel, certainly a tough football team. At home as well is a tough place to play over there in Central, man. They have a good program. They expect to win. There's teams that we have come to see in the playoffs. They just think they're going to win every week, and Daniel is certainly one of those.
And they should be.
But I agree. I think South Pointe, if they play to their standard, I think they've got a few too many athletes. And especially looking at last week, R&E gave Daniel all they wanted. South Pointe handled that R&E team pretty easily. I know Will Wilson will still come back from injury in that game, but I think South Pointe has got enough talent to win this game. I think they do win this game on the road.
I think so. I think there's just too much firepower on that offensive side of the ball for South Pointe, and just got enough athletes on defense. I think they'll be able to stop Daniel enough. And
Jerel, while you pop in here, and I want to get your thoughts, it's very hard to think that we're going to, at least 2 of us say that Daniel's going to lose a football game at Daniel as crazy. Well. That seems asinine, insane to say. But I think that's where we're both leaning. I mean, Jerel, where do you think it, man? Because I don't know.
Maybe it is crazy.
Nathan's already popped in. He said they've won 37 straight at home.
I know.
Everything about this game. Everything about this game says Daniel's going to win. I'm going to join. I'm going to be a dummy too with you guys, and we'll see how it shakes out on Saturday. I think South Pointe's better. I mean, we watched a half of South Pointe earlier this year. Again, Camden had a bunch of injuries in that game, but those guys look dominant in every phase of the game. The worst thing that we saw was a couple rolled snaps on extra points. I mean, South Pointe is
bookmark that.
Bookmark that. Maybe that could be the edge. When you look at it, R&E last week, able to, kind of keep pace with them. Will Wilson and those guys got loose. I think this is going to be a great quarterback matchup between Clary and McMillan here, but I think South Pointe is a little bit better this year. It's stupid to think that they're going to go into Daniel and win this game, but I'm going to join you guys, and we'll just be dumb together if that's how it shakes out.
I'll be at Central. I'll be at Daniel, and I probably won't eat a big supper, so if I need to eat crow, I'll be ready to do that too.
Yeah,
that'll be just fine.
And we talked last week how Arnie and Daniel was a great quarterback matchup.
Yeah.
Got another one this week, man. Yeah. McMillan and Clary's made a lot of fun to watch. Two guys that can absolutely sling it. And I do want to circle back to last week's game. Jerel now 1-1 in hat bets of all time. He got that one right, as Daniel did beat Arnie. Hats off to Jerel. You get that pun there. Hats off to Jerel there. Big win for Jerel picking the Lions to beat Arnie last week for sure. What's the chat saying? Justin says South Pointe's extremely talented. They certainly are, Justin, man. They're playing great football at the 4A level. Adrian says put it on ESPN. I would tune in. Yes, no doubt. I'll certainly rather watch that than Florida State, Adrian. I agree with you on that. That's a heavyweight matchup. Been beating up on teams since they're 5 and 6. Yeah, I mean, this group has been together a long time. Obviously, McMillan is kind of a newer piece to the high school team there, but a lot of guys have played a lot of football together, no doubt about it. DJ Lau's going with Daniel to beat South Pointe. I like that. Chosen says Daniel's well coached, disciplined team year in year out. They certainly are, man. 100%. Like we said, a program that expects to win in each and every year, each and every week, and they will not be scared this week as well. Brell says matchup he wants to see. Don't know who win. Who's the home team? Daniel is at home this week, so that is certainly a feather in the Lions' cap there. South Pointe defense is crazy. It certainly is, man. They are flying around. They got playmakers at all levels. I do think you can throw the ball a little bit on them, and I think Daniel will probably have some success through the air. How much we'll see. It seems like the games that they did lose, to Spartanburg, into Northwestern. Spartanburg had a kick return for a touchdown. That was a big play in that one. They didn't really get much going outside of that offensively. Northwestern had a pretty good game from Polk, and then also on the ground as well. So
they scored 28.
They can be attacked, but it's going to be tough. Daniel has won 37 in a row at home. That's impressive there for sure. Nathan Brinson should be close. South Pointe by 7. The streak ends. South Pointe for the win, says Tank. Heavyweight, says Terrence and Vanessa. Yeah, it's a big-time matchup. What's up, guys? Hampton County in the house. Says yeah, appreciate you. Tough loss last week, but a good season there for Coach Hanna and the Hurricanes.
They'll be back.
Basically, on that. Appreciate you, Keon. Big game at Clinton this week. If you missed us talking about that one, it'll be back at the beginning of the show once we get finished here. South Pointe's heavy. Or South Pointe heavy. Okay, I like it. Daniel by 10, says Cedric.
That's all we have on this game, guys.
And you know what's great here, John? I don't want to jinx it because obviously we'll get this game in a little bit. The winner of this, you probably get to play Westside next week. So it doesn't get any easier. Obviously Camden may have something to say about that as well. But next round will be heavy hitting for both of these teams also. So once again, our CONA games of the week this week, we had Lewisville traveling to HKT, Cheraw going to Barnwell, Batesburg-Leesville at Clinton, TL Hanna at Gaffney, and South Pointe at Daniel. If you missed any of those, once the show is over, you can go back to the beginning and watch them. I'll try to put some timestamps in there so you can check them out. Appreciate you guys tuning into our CONA games of the week. Jerel, let's shout out some friends of the program.
A single moment can ignite a passion. With every play, a spirit of teamwork is forged, and determination evolves into success. Life is the ultimate team sport, and a trusted teammate makes all the difference. Our team at Founders Federal Credit Union works hard every day to offer the financial tools you need, backed by unrivaled member service. Relax, you're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. John, let's take a look at 5A Division I and go through those big matchups.
Yeah, so we talked about that Gaffney TL Hanna game, one of our CONA games of the week. Winner of that game will face the winner of Northwestern and Greenwood.
Division 2. Okay, gotcha. Division 2.
Oh,
no, you're good. We can go Division 2, whatever you want to do.
Clicked the wrong thing. I meant Division 1.
Okay.
But, yeah. So Northwestern Greenwood, this game will be in Rock Hill. Greenwood, what a great season they have had, bouncing back up to the 5A level, knocking off Hillcrest last week and 2-0 against Hillcrest this year. Just Northwestern's better.
Yeah, Greenville quarterback Tristan Lewis been really good this year. Had 100 yards rushing and throwing last week. But Northwestern, man, they've been a machine this year. Finley Polk, Zamir Gordon-Miles, coming to his own. He went 17 for 117, 4 touchdowns last week. A guy who was playing defense up until this year has really shown out lately for them. Receivers, Nichols, Caldwell, Vance, Knox. So many playmakers for Coach Walford's bunch. Northwestern is a machine, man. I think they win this game pretty handily. They are a big-time problem for everybody else in 5A Division II.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a running clock in the second half. But I think this is going to be maybe a 3-score game.
Yeah.
3 or 4-score game.
5-6. We'll see.
Either way, Greenwood has had a great season nonetheless. On the lower state side of the bracket, we'll see Irmo hosting West Florence.
Heck of a run for West Florence, man, to get to this point. I like that defense a lot. They've really played great all year long. But I think Irmo may be a different level. I think if you're West Florence, you want to kind of go run heavy, kind of use one of those drill terms, kind of muck it up a little bit, just kind of get some crazy plays going, maybe some trick plays, kind of, really slow the tempo down. I think that's your best bet. But I think A.J. Brand, Donovan Murph, all those guys there at Irmo, Malik Murphy, I think they're just too powerful right now. They're playing too good a football. I think the Yellow Jackets win that game.
And they play good defense, too.
Yeah.
I think Irmo's, they got a lot of talent and a lot of athleticism on both sides of the football. They see blood in the water. It's been a minute since Irmo has been state championship caliber, and this is a very proud program. I don't see them tripping up on Friday. I think they win this game probably by a couple scores. I'd say probably 2 or 3 scores. On the lower state side of the bracket, we'll see Berkeley hosting White Knoll. Now, this is a very, very interesting game here. White Knoll has played a lot better football lately. They rolled Lugoff Elch in the first round, beat up on Myrtle Beach last week. But Berkeley shut out Westwood, an okay Westwood team in their first game in the playoffs. They've had a really good season. I think Berkeley at home, I don't know. I know more about White Knoll than I know about Berkeley. Mm-hmm. I think Berkeley might be a little bit better of the team in this matchup. I like the Stags to knock them off.
White Knoll, you mentioned they've gotten a lot better lately. I mean, they play in that tough region there in the Midlands that had a lot of really good football teams. A lot of them still playing now at this point. Quarterback Landon Sharp has been great lately. 250 passing last week, 70 yards rushing as well. Running back Tyon Finn had about 100 yards. Caleb and Devin Geronimo, your playmakers for Coach Pelham's bunch there. Berkeley, you mentioned they rolled last week. Still had a lot of penalties, had double-digit penalties, and that does worry me in a game where a team like White Knoll is good enough to beat you. That certainly worries me. Obviously, we love quarterback Henry Rivers, the young stud there. Bash and Boone out wide for them. They're big-time playmakers. It's tough to me where I feel like it's a really fun quarterback matchup. 2 guys that are dual threat, 2 guys that can move around and can win the football game for you. It's just who takes that next step. Like we know Sharp can do it. They made the deep run last year, went to the state title game. Rivers has not had that signature moment yet for the Stags. Is this the week? Certainly could be. Going to be a lot of fun as those 2 guys get together. 2 studs at the quarterback spot, 2 really good football teams there for Coach Pelham and Coach Lodge.
Yeah, I think this will be the best game outside of that Fort Dodge or outside of TL Hanna Gaffney. This will be the second best game of the week for the Division II level.
I agree. Let's any comments there, Jerel, from you or the chat on Division II 5A?
No, you guys nuked the chat by saying that Westside's going to win this game already. So we'll just keep moving on.
I said Ken may have something to say about it. I said that. I said they have something to say.
Can't wait till we get to that game. Can't wait till we get to that game.
We'll look at 5A Division I now, John. Let's get over there and look at that one.
Ridgeview will head down to Somerville. Ridgeview playing good football. They're really talented. Really get on over there at Ridgeview.
And he's been out. They've been playing well without him too, which has been really impressive there.
They're really good. I mean, you've seen it with the offense, 22 points last week. Somerville, I feel like I was a little bit unimpressed with the game last week against Fort Dorchester. I don't think Fort Dorchester is very good. And they beat them. It was, a comfortable win. They got to play a little better. I think Ridgeview is going to give them a fight. They're going to make Somerville play good, but I like the Green Wave to win this game and go to the lower state championship next week.
Yeah, I think too much Somerville firepower right now. I think Ridgeview is still probably a year away. Christian Jackson, the receiver, has been great. He's still, I think, an underclassman, maybe a junior. Trey Howard, I believe he's a sophomore quarterback. They'll both be back next year for Coach Howard there. I think they're probably a year away from making a really deep run. I think Somerville gets them this week.
And then on the lower side of that bracket, Sumter will be hosting James Island. James Island team has had a really good playoff run. We know they play good defense. Put up some points last week against Carolina Forest and a nice win there. I just think, and this is where I feel like we say this a lot this week, where we see two really good teams. Justin saying James Island with the
I love it, Justin.
I tell you what, that would be an upset. They got the defense to be able to do it. But what I think, and I feel like this is the narrative for a lot of these games, is you got two good teams. It's, okay, which team has more athletes, more firepower? And in this game, it's Sumter. I think there's too much to cover in that backfield and that running game for the Gamecocks. I think James Island, they slow them down. I don't think Sumter scores 40 points this week, but I just think there's too much for James Island to slow down for them to win this game. I think we see a pretty good game here, but I like Sumter to win this one.
Sumter, that big one over Ashley Ridge was 55-24. They were down 17-14 in that game and just really hammered the Swamp Foxes from that point forward. They got it going on both sides of the football. James Island, heck of a run lately, allowing just 8 points per game for Coach McCoy there. And a big difference for them. Early on in the year, they kind of struggled offensively. Their stud running back, who they're relying heavily on, left midweek, late in the season, to go down to Florida. But since that point, I think it's kind of really helped James Island to kind of galvanize that bunch. We talked to Jack DeLongshaw last week on a preview show, and he kind of gave us some insight into what they changed up. And I think, going into late in the season, they were kind of really relying on the one back there who left. Now that he's gone, kind of spread it out a little bit more. And it's really helped out that offense, kind of helped them get going a little bit, using some more playmakers instead of just focusing on one guy there. And that's been a big difference maker for them. They had a nice win over a good Carolina Forest team last week, a team similar to Sumter that wants to run the ball a lot. Shut down that pretty good running, and they held them to 21 points, I believe it was. But like you said, John, I think Sumter just a few too many weapons on offense, I believe. But going to be a lot of hard hits, a big physical game between these two teams here. But I think Sumter at home as well helps out there for the Gamecocks. I think Coach Barnes and the boys move on. But heck of a program down there that Coach McCoy's building, man. They're getting better and better, it feels like, every year. And they'll be a contender for years to come. Yeah, they're another very, very solid, consistent program as well. On the upper state side of the bracket, we see a region rematch here. Dutch Fork playing River Bluff. River Bluff, I feel bad. I feel like they are probably one of the best teams in 5A that just doesn't get the love because of the region they're in. They're just in a tough region. They're a very good football team. Beat up on Rock Hill last week, but it's I just don't see them beating Dutch Fork. I mean, they're 10-2. Their two losses are to Dutch Fork and Irma, like two teams that are favorites or one of the favorites in their class. I believe River Bluff, first time in program history, I think, with 10 wins, I believe I saw. So awesome for them. They're going on the road on last Thursday to beat a tough Rock Hill team. this matchup the first time around, Dutch Fork won 41-14. That was back in week 10, a game where Ethan Alfing went 21 for 27, 417, 4 touchdowns. Actually, one of our players of the week that week. Boykin Bickley, Maurice Anderson both had over 100 yards receiving in that one. Dutch Fork has looked great on both sides of the ball, man. The defense, we know what they do there with Elgin Sessions and Josh Smith, the two Power 5 guys there. Have played great for Coach Braswell and Coach Knotts. That D-Lock defense is really, really tough, man. Flying around. We saw them firsthand against Irmo. Irmo, a very high-powered offense, struggled that night against a really good Dutch Fork defense. River Bluff, I do love what they do with Stephen Collier. He's a stud. Hayden Myers, running back, did have 100-plus yards that first matchup. So if they can get him going, maybe they can hang around. We'll see. But I do want to mention one more thing. River Bluff, the offensive line kind of gets overlooked sometimes for them. But they're playing really good. Yeah. And they're led by a freshman at center, Brody Lorenzo at center. You don't see that very often in 5A football. You don't see a freshman playing center. He has done a great job for them. He is going to be a stalwart on that offensive line now for, I guess, 4 years for Coach Knotts there. I think Dutch Fork wins again. Heck of a run by River Bluff. They're a really fun team to follow this year. I think the Silver Fox has too much firepower.
Yeah. But, again, great year for River Bluff. They got a lot to build on. They'll face the winner of JL Man Spartanburg. Spartanburg, a team that has really come alive second half of the season. They had that 3-point loss to Gaffney a couple weeks ago for basically the region title in that one. JL-Man's really good. They got a lot of weapons. And this is the one game where I feel like JL-Man's got more weapons and more firepower in this matchup. I like Spartanburg as a team better. They played good defense all year long, and they've been playing pretty good offense lately. They put up 37 last week on a Burns team that has played good defense all year and has been playing probably maybe their best football of the season going into the playoffs as well. And they dominated the Rebels last week. I like Spartanburg in this game. I think their defense is going to make enough plays to slow down JL-Man enough to win the game. If their offense continues to play at a high level as they've done the last few weeks, I like the Vikings.
Yeah, Trenton Lynch has been great for Spartanburg running the football there. Justin Rice out wide had a big game last week as well. You know, Cameron Smith, that linebacking core for the Vikings is really good for Coach Hodge there. On the JL-Man side, a team that, you know, had a lot of fanfare coming into the year, John. You know, people had them top 3, top 2, I think we had them top 3 in our poll for a while, maybe even number 2. You know, had the overtime loss to Gaffney. Okay, so what? That's fine. Gaffney's a good team. And they kind of got beat by TL Hanna on that short week. We kind of forgot about them a little bit. You know, we didn't not say forgot about them, but they kind of dropped off the radar a hair from where they were earlier in the year. But you mentioned they've got plenty of talent. You know, LaDania Martin, Esias Morris, and McLeod Darnell at quarterback there. Bruton on the back end on defensive for them. I mean, they've got studs everywhere. And Coach Watson does a fantastic job with that group. He's building a very good program there. I think the key for me is, can Spartanburg get the pass game going? Can they find Rice a few times? Can they hit some big plays on that side? Because Coach Watson is going to do a good job scheming up against the run, I'm sure. He will have a good game plan for that. And then JL-Man, does it come down? Can Darnell make plays for them? Like, we know what the running backs can do with Jones and Morrison and Martin. Can McLeod Darnell find some of these guys, Keyshawn Henderson and whatnot, out wide to make a big play? I think JL-Man, you know, a team that went to the Upper State title game last year, I think they have a chance to get back there this. I think they win this week over at Spartanburg.
If they have success throwing the football Friday, they'll have a very good chance. I don't think Spartanburg is going to let them run the ball all over them. It's going to look a lot like that Gaffney game, which JL-Man had a great chance to win.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 5A Division 1?
Not too many. Just got an important comment here pertinent to this week. Okay,
the most recent CFP rankings are out. Clemson 12th, Carolina 15th. This game certainly could be for a playoff spot. We'll see how it all shakes out, but we have a big one in the Palmetto Bowl on Saturday.
Yeah, let's get to 4A. I'm ready for that one. Let's get there, guys.
I feel like we lit it on fire apparently already. Lit a grenade and ran away. But let's go down to 4A now, John. Let's take a look at the 4A ranks, the 4A playoffs this week.
Yeah, so in the lower state, Hartsville will play South Florence again, a game we saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we've got some highlights from that game. Actually, we're going to play here while we're going through it. But a heck of a ball game. You know, Hartsville won 54-35. It felt like it was probably a little bit closer than that. They had a couple of big plays late, led by you know, big gains from Barnes and Demarion Coe and Tristan Spann out wide. Just speed all over the field for the Red Fox. I think they had 3 or 4 guys go over 3 miles per hour. I think running the right run. Is that Jerel? You may remember. I don't know if you remember or not, but I think that's what I saw the tweet from our friend Ian Gary, and they would catapult. But they had a lot of speed there for South Florence. South Florence is playing good football too, though. You know, last week Hilton Head Island was allowing 15 points per game. South Florence scored 56 on those boys. Jaden Sellers, younger brother of Lenore, South Carolina commit there. 227 rush yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 catches, 105 through the air, another touchdown. They were playing great football. Messiah Jackson, Amari Adams, Zion Gilbert, Trey Leonard. I mean, they have a 3-headed monster at running back now with Sellers there. They can certainly get it done. And Coach Marlowe and the boys, another program that has gotten to the point where they expect to win football games. You know, I mean, they have built a great program there. State title 2 years ago, state runner-ups last year. They are built for a deep, deep November run. But now Hartsville, though, they already beat them once. Can they do it again, John? It's going to be a lot of fun. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, and I picked South Florence in this game that we're watching highlights here from because I thought South Florence would be too physical for Hartsville. And Hartsville proved, hey, whatever. We're just going to hit a bunch of big plays. Look at this. They're dancing around saying,
we got the speed. You come catch us. I'm
just going to find a seam, and then you can watch my taillights.
Yeah.
I want to pick South Florence again because I still think they are the more physical group. But I can't do it. I can't do it after seeing what Hartsville already proved on the field. And they're playing at home. You know, it's the same cast of characters. Hartsville's healthy. You know, I got to go Red Foxes. I can't I would be doing them a disservice. I would be doing my eyes a disservice if I picked against them in this game. I think they'll win again.
Yeah, I mean, hard to beat a good team twice, but you got them at Kellytown again. That's a big plus. That's a really good home field atmosphere there for the Red Foxes. Coach Calabrese does a great job there. I will say this. If you're South Florence, do not kick the ball to Demarion Coe. Kick it out of bounds. Kick an onside kick. I don't care. Do not kick him the football. He is dangerous. He's lethal. He's got the Hartsville career record for kick returns. He ran one back against you a couple weeks back. In that game, was great. They tried to kick it away from him. They just pitched it back to him. He ran it anyway. So maybe just kick out of bounds. I don't know what you do there, but do not let Mr. Coe get the ball in his hands. He is a stud. I think I'm going to go Hartsville as well, man. They are so explosive right now. I love what they're doing. And it could be a great matchup between Sellers and Coe, who can make the most explosive play. But I think Hartsville at home sneaks this one out.
Yeah. And Sellers is a great player in his own right. I've seen him play before as well. Very explosive player. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And I saw Nathan said it's the runner-up game for 4A. I tell you what, there's a lot to be decided on the upper state side, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The winner of this game will face the winner of Gilbert North Augusta. Gilbert, a team, did not expect them to be here. Did not expect them to be playing football this late in the year. Great program. A little bit of a dip this year, but here they are. North Augusta has been good all year long. I like, again, here we go again. Good teams. I like the weapons and the athleticism, the talent that North Augusta has. I think Gilbert's done a great job to get here. I think North Augusta, you expect to be here. I like North Augusta in this game.
I mean, this is really the rematch side of 4A. We get two region rematches again for the semifinal. Obviously South Florence, Hartsville, now Gilbert, North Augusta. North Augusta beat Gilbert 37-14 earlier on in the year. Last week, Michael Doe, another big game. You mentioned the weapons, man. Coach Exume at Gilbert has done a fantastic job this year. That win last week really caught me off guard. I thought Bishop England had a good defense. They scored 36 on those guys. Did not see that coming. But on the flip side, North Augusta hammered a Goodman River team. Just absolutely hammered them on both sides of the football. Do you have that final score there, John, of that one by chance?
It was, I want to say 36-6. Yeah.
Hammered those boys. I love what they can do. Michael Doe, Corey Tillman, Connor Brown on offense, man, so explosive. Coach Bush's bunch is playing great on that side of the ball, and defense is locked in as well lately. I think North Augusta wins again. I think they beat Gilbert the second time this season.
I think so too. Now, on the upper state side of the bracket, we talked about that South Point Daniel game. That's one of our CONA games of the week. Winner of that game going to face the winner of Westside Camden. Kevin doesn't want to talk about the games.
That's not true.
The Bulldogs have a chance.
That's not true.
I don't know. I think maybe not. Camden really was impressive last week. They've scored 43 points the last 2 weeks. The Camden offense seems to have found themselves a little bit. I think they are a little bit one-dimensional, though. They can run the ball well. Wyatt Thompson, he's playing quarterback. He's very fast. He's a guy. They got a lot of speed in that backfield. Oh man,
it's a lot of Rams there. That's a lot of Rams.
That's about the number of weapons that Camden has to cover in this game. I think Camden's a really good team. I think they're going to make this a very competitive ball game. I don't like the Camden offense to be able to keep up with the West Side offense to win this game. I think they'll make West Side's life a little bit tough. I think West Side's not going to like the amount of points that Camden could put on them, but I think West Side's just better. I like their offense better. They're more dynamic, and we talk about it every week with West Side. Special teams, special teams. Even if Camden could go toe for toe offensively with West Side, if you punt the ball, boy, good luck. And again, like with Coe at Hartsville, kick the ball out of bounds. Seriously. Kick the ball out of bounds. Work on that all week. Tell your punter, all you want to do this week is see how far you can kick it, kicking it out of bounds. Work on that because we don't want to put the ball in play. Obviously, kickoffs, well, you don't have to put the ball in play on kickoffs either. But kick it up the middle. If they get the ball at the 30, 35, awesome. Awesome. That's a win. Do not let Weaver get his hands on the football defensively or special teams. And you got a much better chance because that could be the difference in this type of game where special teams, you have a return. I see a lot of picks for Camden. I don't see it. I think Westside wins this game. I think we see a 42-31 type game if Camden plays well. I think if Camden plays well, it's a 7 to 10 point game. I think there's too much on the west side of the football field to keep up with.
I mean, what a run for Camden, a team that, I think we had all kind of written off. They looked so bad middle of the year. They've gotten healthy now. That's a big key for them on defense. They had a lot of pieces out early on. They're back now. I mean, that game last week, everything they could easily gave up. I think Wren scores like 2 minutes to go. Camden comes back, scores again, goes for 2 and gets it. Wren drives back down the field, and you get JoJo Krim blocking a 27-yard field goal like 5 seconds left. I mean, just an awesome win for Coach Rimpton and the boys. Another program that expects to win in the playoffs. They expect to make deep runs, and they had a big win last week. Ty Drakeford had a huge game. I think he had like 200 yards receiving, big game for them. Obviously, Navi Boykin is in the backfield. Wyatt Thompson had touchdowns, I believe, I think running and receiving last week, remember correctly. He had a big game for them. He's an athlete, special athlete for them. Hollins North on defense is a good player, along with Krim as well. We know about JoJo. And this is a game here, John, where you mentioned special teams. Camden's got pretty good special teams, too. If you remember that state title game last year, they had a fake punt they converted, also a throwback kickoff return they ran back for a touchdown as well. So they've got some weapons with JoJo and Drakeford and those boys there that can make some things happen on special teams. So Coach Rimp, I'm sure, will have them coached up well. But going to be a fun matchup. On the west side, we say it every week, so many weapons. Bomar, Weaver, Cheraw Richardson, I think he kind of gets overlooked, and he's a stud for them, man. Cheraw's a great player on both sides of the football. Cutter Woods at quarterback. Everybody knows about him. The 3-star Gamecock commit, Mr. Football finalist. What else can you say? He is, 10,000 career passing yards. Just an awesome player for Coach Lane there. Drayson Evans, all those guys. But the defense has played better this year as well. You got the guys on the back end like Richardson and Weaver and Bomar, but the linebackers have played well. The front seven has played well, especially. It's going to be a heavyweight matchup. It's not going to be easy for Westside. I don't think so. I think Camden's going to give them fits. Like, they've got a good game plan, I'm sure, coming in. But I don't know what you do. Like, if it's a game like last week where you try to outscore Westside, I don't think you can do it. Like, I don't think that's that way you beat them. But I don't know if Camden has the offense to kind of wear them down and kind of control the clock like they need. But it's not going to be easy. Not saying that at all. But I think Westside, just too much talent this year, and I think at home especially, long road trip there for Camden. I think the Rams win this game.
If JoJo Krim really wants to put himself on the map, he can do it Friday night. If he can go out there and if they put him on, say, hey man, Weaver is your guy, and he goes out and takes away Weaver, that can make this a different ball game.
What about Bomar?
That's a problem.
What about Evans?
That's a problem.
What about Richardson?
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's so many of these guys.
If he could take away, because no one's done that this year.
No.
If you could do that, and then you get in Cutter's head a little bit. All right, well, shoot, I got to go somewhere else with the ball. You get a pick. Who knows? Crazy things could happen. Momentum's a huge thing in football. Mm-hmm. If JoJo Grimm can make a big play like that, and where I think this is where I'm getting at, Kevin. I think if Camden, whether it's Krim, whether it's somebody else, and I'm thinking more so Krim and Weaver, because those are the two top guys on both sides of the football for each of these teams. And Westside, we've seen Westside play a lot of football. Mm-hmm. They don't think anybody's better than them, and they might be right.
Yeah.
If JoJo Krim makes a play and he goes, no, don't come my way.
Yeah.
Don't throw the ball my way. That can get in some kids' heads and go, oh man, oh shoot, these guys are really good.
And
these
don't
guys
forget,
are really good. Who knows?
That Wren team gave Westside a good fight a couple weeks ago. Like, they hung around with the Rams for a little bit.
They're a little banged up too, right?
Yeah, and that was on the road at Westside. Camden goes on the road last week and beats that Wren team.
Came to beat Hartsville earlier this year too. Jerel doesn't like to admit that, but that did happen.
That's true. It's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. But I think it's hard not to pick Westside.
I still think Westside wins.
For sure. I'd pick Westside too. But I wanted to talk about special teams here. JoJo Krim had the game-winning play last week against Wren, blocked the field goal. So that's how they got to this round. But let's put a bow on this one. We're running long on time, guys.
Any other comments from 4A Drill? I know you popped a lot of them up there. Any else we need to
I've popped most of them up there, so we'll keep rolling.
Perfect. Let's shout out some friends of the program before we look down at 3A ranks.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
Home Services. How can we make you smile today? Preferred Home Services. For electrical or plumbing, cooling too. Go, 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 Preferred.
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, Letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice. Down to the 3A ranks now, John.
Yeah, in the upper state, we'll see Mountain View hosting Crescent. Great run for Crescent.
Yeah, another rematch here. MVP beat him the first time, 48-21. Drummond had 238, 3 touchdowns. McGill had 233 on the ground, 65 receiving yards. Hainsworth had the 136 receiving as well. Crescent surprised me. I thought Crescent was going to win last week. I think MVP, though, too much talent, too much firepower. I think Coach Ramsey and those boys continue to roll to that upper state final.
Yeah. They're just really good. They're really, really good. And it's a reoccurring theme. It's a story of offenses, I think, this year. In Mountain View, again, they've got an offense that I think if you're Crescent, I just don't think you got enough to be able to stop them enough to win this ball game. Now, the winner of this game will face the winner of Powdersville and Belton Honeypath. This ball game, I think, is going to be quite close. And I think we found out Friday night if Belton Honeypath is really, I know this sounds crazy, in my opinion, if they're a legitimate favorite to win the state championship.
Yeah, and BHP, last week got the pass game going. Big game out of Tajay Martin out wide for them. We know what Henderson can do at running back. I think he passed, what was it, 6,000 yards, we said, John, 7,000 yards, rushing, whatever it was. Big number he passed, man. He's had a great season, great career, of course, for Coach Blackston and the Bears there. Powdersville, 9 in a row for them. Love what they did on defense last week. Coach Nimmer's bunch forced 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, shut out Woodruff in the second half. That's a Wolverines team that we've seen score a lot of points this year. Shut them out. 3 TOs, fourth quarter. Big win for them. Powdersville, I'll tell you what, John, they've got some speed. And folks didn't realize that, with Huggins back there, Tavius Williams as well, they've got some guys who can go. And, they are right there with BHP. I think they've got the athletes to certainly compete with those guys. BHP has been just kind of laying in Louise, just hammering everybody. It feels like since that West Side game, haven't really been tested. I think they get a real test this week. Going to be a great matchup. Coach Munster's bunch is firing on all cylinders. Of course, the Bears are as well. I can't wait to see what Henderson can do against Coach Nimmer's defense. That Powdersville defense, man, they shut down a really good Woodruff team, shut down a good running back, Aiden Gibson, last week. Henderson, a different animal here, of course. But Woodruff is not afraid to play BHP. We see them beat BHP the last few years several times. I think they've got a good squad. BHP maybe a little too much firepower. We'll see on Friday.
Yeah, I think, I don't see Powdersville getting 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter again this week. And if they do. And another thing we don't consider too is Henderson touches the ball, a handful of times a game. Mm-hmm. If we are in a 14-14 ball game in the fourth quarter, he's going to be getting the rock, whereas typically in the fourth quarter, he's not getting the ball. I think Henderson, if this is a close game, and it should be a relatively close game, but I think Henderson's going to be the ultimate deciding factor if it does come down to a fourth quarter ball game. And I think it will to a degree. But I don't think Powdersville is the team that's going to knock off Henderson and BHP.
Powdersville shocked the state, says Moses. I like it.
That'd be a shock. Now, on the lower state side of the bracket, we'll see Dillon. They will head down to Mount Pleasant, take on Oceanside, a Dillon team that has bounced back pretty well this year. They looked really good. We saw them play Newberry last week. A gritty performance. Best players, Marion Fling goes down. Demai Capart's little brother comes on. Daniel Capart, I believe. Daniel had a great game. We talked to him after the game. Really good kid. He stepped up in a big-time situation. Dillon looked really good. They looked the part. I don't know as much about Oceanside. I think this will be a really good game. I'm going to lean Oceanside because it's down there. But Dillon's playing really good football right now. I think this is going to be a fourth quarter ball game. Could come down the last possession like we saw on New Day.
Yeah, this will be down at Johnson Haygood Stadium is where they'll play this matchup. Oceanside is firing all cylinders. Aiden Manavi, another big game last week for him. Running back Terrence Moore, receiver Will Virgilio out wide. They're playing great on both sides of the football. And that Walkmall team, they held 6 points last week. They scored a lot of points this year. I mean, they've had a good squad there for Coach Johnson. They've had a lot of games they've been in or even won. I think they gave Dillon all they wanted a couple weeks back.
They did.
For Dillon, the key, you got to have Jamarian Fling play. If he doesn't play, I don't think you have a chance. But if he plays, maybe so. I mean, he's got great balance, great patience, just understands where to go, how to hit the hole. What the timing of it as well is really, really impressive there. Fling is a stud. Hamilton is a solid quarterback. They've got some receivers out wide with Green and Robertson who can make plays. We know they're always solid on defense, but I think Oceanside might be a different animal. Be a tough matchup for Dillon down there Johnson Haygood for sure.
Yeah, I think even with Fling, I think with Manavian at Oceanside, I think that might be just a little bit too much for Dillon. Now, the other side of this bracket, we'll see Loris hosting Keenan. The Keenan Raiders, they've played good defense all year long. They scored some points on Orangeburg-Wilkinson last week, beat them 38-7. Loris did not look so good. They had a tight game against Hanahan, winning that game just by 7. I think Loris will come alive. I think once they watch the film this week, Keenan will have their attention. This is the Keenan team with some really good defense. I expect this to be a very low-scoring, physical ball game. I like the weapons. Of Loris a little bit more. I think they got really good quarterback play. They're physical. They can throw the ball downfield a little bit if they need to. They're a well-versed offense, and that's an awesome environment. Saw that Loris Dillon game earlier this year. It's a great environment. Should be a packed house. I like Loris. They got a little bit more in their favor, I think, in this game. But this is going to be. I think we're going to see. Loris had a 28-21 game Friday. I think we're going to see like a 21-14 type of game this Friday.
Yeah, this is our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. Keenan at 8-4, Loris at 10-1. You mentioned the Lions 28-21 over Hanahan last week, averaging 36 on offense, 9 allowed on defense. Quarterback Moon Jerel did not start last week. Not sure situation there. He came in, he did play, had a touchdown pass and run. He's got 17 TDs, 2 picks on the year. Had a great season there for Coach Mance. Running back Deuce Stevens had 2 rush touchdowns. Sherman and Percha also weapons in the backfield. Receivers Jacobian Grimm, Lewis, and Brian Johnson. Defensively, Javon Johnson, number 9. He's a stud for the Lions. We've got Landon Connor and Demarion Thurman also up front who are big-time playmakers. On the Keenan side, you mentioned it, they hammered O-Dub 38-7, 34 points per game on offense, 21 on defense. Quarterback Desmond Washington went 19 for 30 for 430 and 4 touchdowns. Running back Hunter O'Neal over 1,000 yards on the season. Receiver Tyheem McNeil, 8 for 278, 3 touchdowns. His brother Nike McNeil, 6 for 61 on Friday. Both of them can go and get it. Defensively, Tyquez Taylor, 8 tackles, 3 TFLs. Titus Bowman, 6 tackles, and Tyheem McNeil with a pick. This is a fun game here. Yeah, I think that's maybe a bit of a wake-up call for Loris last week. Typically, if you're going to win a state title, you're going to have one game where you don't play your best. Maybe that's the one for the Lions. We'll see. And don't forget, Grimm Lewis is a weapon in the return game for the Lions, man. He has done a great job all season back there for them. Coach Vance has done a great job building this program up, taking them to the next level. I think Keenan is on the same trajectory. They've got interim coach this year had to step in last minute. They've had a great season, man. Won a lot of really big football games. I think Loris, a little too much firepower this way. I think they win at home in our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. HTC here to connect. As always, we do a game from either Marion, Georgetown, or Horry counties. If you're in those areas, check out HTC for their service. They do a great job there. Once again, our HTC Hometown Connection game. Keenan and Loris. Jerel, who do you like in this game? A big matchup for our HTC Hometown Connection here.
Yeah, I like Loris in this one. I think last week they just kind of shook the rust off a little bit. Hadn't played in 3 weeks, as we all know here. That's a scrappy Hanahan bunch too, so we got to give credit to that side. They had a lot of adversity this year. They played really well down the stretch, and kind of a wake up call like you mentioned, Kevin. So I think they're going to win this one, but that's no shade to Keenan. They've had a fantastic season. Zach mentioned in the chat, are they a football school now? I don't know. We know they can play on the hardwood, so they have athletes. So there's always a chance when you got athletes, but I like Loris a little bit more in this one.
Yep, Keenan at Loris, our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. HTC here to connect. Any other chat comments on 3A, Jerel? Loris Lines in 3A says, Barron, yeah, we're all really high on Loris. They play great football all year long. That lone loss to Sockasty, kind of a midweek stumble. Peter says, ain't played 3 weeks, but back now. Go Loris. We'll be close. Yeah, I think that's the key, Peter. You're exactly right, man. You have that kind of time off late in the year. It's tough to be super sharp that first week back. They got the win, and they're back now ready to roll for Coach Mance. That Keenan Football School now. Hey, they're making a case this year to certainly be considered one. Don't sleep on little old Keenan, says Thomas. Hey, you guys have some great playmakers. I love the McNeil kids. I love O'Neal at the running back spot. And anytime you got a quarterback that throws for 400 yards against a pretty good O-Dub team, you got to be impressive. The Raiders are playing good football. Brandish's pretty good team blew out Chester. They certainly did. They gave Chester Chester a helping for sure on a midseason game there.
That's it for that one.
Let's look down now at 2A, John.
Yeah, so we talked about one of our CONA games of the week, Barnwell and Cheraw. The winner of that game will play the winner of Philip Simmons and Manning. Philip Simmons getting to host that ball game. Or actually, no, I think this game will be at Manning, actually.
I don't know what to think here. Manning comes from behind, wins that game in OT last week over Hampton County, a game I thought they were going to lose. Philip Simmons, they go down behind early to, Tyleek Dukes and Kingstree. They come back to blow them out, with a big second half. Two teams that I just can't get a good feel for. I think I like Philip Simmons' weapons a little bit more with Kellerman and Oriana there, but it should be a fun game down in 2A.
I like Manning in this game. I was very impressed.
Manning's at home, by the way. I believe I just saw that.
At Manning. I like Manning in this game. I was very impressed by them knocking off Hampton County last week. I thought Hampton County would win that game. The Monarchs pulled it off. I think they win this week too. And then we go over to the upper state side of the bracket. One of our other kind of games of the week is Clinton, Batesburg-Leesville. They will play the winner of Fairfield Central and Central of Pageland. That game over in Winsboro, home of the Fairfield Central Griffins. Central of Pageland, really good season.
Mm-hmm.
They knocked off Saluda last week. I think Fairfield Central is just a better team here. I think they've got a lot of talent. They're really good defensively as well. Fairfield Central got a great chance to go to Orangeburg. I think they win this week. I think the key for them is don't get too ahead of yourselves and start thinking about next week. I think they win this week, but you got to take care of business. Don't get ahead of yourself here.
You mentioned a heck of a season for Central Pageland. First-year coach Jonathan Easton's done a great job with that program. Lots of weapons out wide. I don't know if they have what it takes up front to stop Tydarian Greer in that Griffin rushing attack. I think Fairfield Central probably ends the Eagle season this week. I agree with you on that one. Any comments on 2A, Jerel? Don't sleep on the Eagle. Hey, Brian, you're right, man. They're
Play well.
How about that region, too? Cheraw, they're in this round. Central's still in this round. I mean, people didn't see that coming probably. They play good football. Big win last week for those guys. At Manning, three-headed monster. Defense is good. Strong leading their way. Yeah, they play good football lately. I mean, I love what what Coach Kennedy does there. He's always a great coach. Always has a solid program. A team that's competed in 3A for several years comes down to 2A, playing good football right now. And they obviously you got to be good to get to this point, man. So they've certainly got a good shot over Philip Simmons.
Yeah.
Let's go to 1A, guys.
Down to the 1A ranks.
On the upper state side of the bracket, Abbeville hosting Lamar. The machine that is Abbeville continues to roll. Lamar, great program. Good to see them back deep in the playoff run here. Abbeville is going to be too much. I don't know that this game is going to be very close either.
Lamar, did not play their best last week. They're going to need to play a heck of a lot better this week to beat Abbeville. I mean, the Panthers' weapons, with Leach and Norman and Haddon and those guys, I mean, they're just loaded for Coach Nichols. Have dominated everybody since, really that Batesburg-Leesville game really on in the season. They play great football. I think Lamar just not quite enough to hang with Abbeville. But they've got some playmakers, man. Obviously, Zoom Jackson, what they can do, Zord Pierce as well. But I think Abbeville, the Panthers, probably too much firepower.
Yeah. And they'll play the winner of one of our CONA games of the week, Lewisville, going to Hunter-Kinard-Tyler to play that ball game. We talked about that early on in the program. Lower state side of the bracket, we will see Lakeview hosting Bamberg Earhart. It should be a really fun ball game here. I think Bamberg-Earhart wins this game, but I think it's going to be a pretty good battle.
Yeah, Bamberg-Earhart was in a tight one last week. Baptist Hill, they pulled away the second half. Running back D. Odom, 19 for 135 and a touchdown. Chanston Crosby, he's back healthy now, had a bit of a procedure. He's back. He came in the second half, led them to that victory, 10 for 13, 259, 2 touchdowns. MJ Can, big-time player, along with Javaris Logan up front there for them. Lakeview, they were in a dogfight with Johnsonville. Won that game 21-14, very tight there, had a problem holding on to the ball. They fumbled a ton. They fumbled their first 3 drives, maybe 5 times in total. Big game from Tyrell Foxworth, 39 for 255 and 3 touchdowns. I think Bamberg is a better football team. I like Lakeview a lot this year with with Herlong and Foxworth there in the backfield. But I think the Red Raiders with Crosby and Can and Odom, too much firepower on the road. I still think I like them. I think Crosby makes one too many plays with his feet or through the air. I think they win that football game.
And they will play the winner of Cross hosting Hanna Pamplico. Hanna Pamplico's had a great run this season. They're playing their best football right now.
Great win last week over Denmark Olar.
Yeah. They look really, really good. Cross has been good all year long. I think Cross is probably a little bit better of the team in this one. Hanna Pamplico might be playing better football right now. I'm going to go Cross because they're at home, though.
Hanna Pamplico, like I said, 40-6 last week. Wade Poston, 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. Running back Chris Eldridge, a big game as well. Cross, 4 shutouts in a row. 4 shutouts in a row for Big Cross, John. Put some respect. Big Cross there. Carmelo Jones, 12 for 127, 2 touchdowns. Man, he's had a huge year for Coach Wright. I think Cross too much, man. I think they've got the weapons on both sides. Caden Ramsey and Jones playing both ways. I think they win this football game. But Hanna Pamplico, they've got the offense to stick around with some teams. I think Cross is at a next level right now.
Should be a good game, though. Should be pretty close.
Any 1A comments from you, Jerel, or from the chat? DeKay, we're ready this time. Arthur says, hey, and if you missed that chat, Arthur, we broke down HKT and Lewisville beginning of the game. Go check that out once you get done here. You can go back to the beginning and watch that breakdown of the Lions and the Trojans. A-Town train rolling, says JD. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a broken record, JD and John, where it's like, hey, Abbeville's playing so-and-so. Well, this team's had a really good season, but Abbeville is just rolling. I mean, it's a broken record, man. And Coach Nichols has them boys playing great. They're a big-time football team. Seth says Abbeville, Lewisville, Upper State. He's calling it. I agree with you there. I think that's who I think we're all kind of leaning playing next week for sure.
That's all the comments we have for 1A, guys.
Shout out to friends of the program here, Jerel, and then we'll wrap up.
Preferred Home Services. How can we make you smile today? Preferred Home Services. For electrical or plumbing, cooling too. Go, Preferred.
Need a new ride to get you to the big game? Founders Federal Credit Union has auto loan rates that'll get you in the driver's seat without breaking the bank. And here's the best part. No payment for up to 90 days. Drive to victory with a loan that suits your budget. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto today and score your dream car with an auto loan from Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Member qualification required.
Jerel, we also shouted our friends at HTC as well. Give us a second over here to get something done. So shout out our friends at HTC for our Hometown Connection game of the week.
We'll do.
At HTC, we're here to keep you connected. Here to provide reliable fiber optic internet with free, fast, and secure HTC Smart Wi-Fi. HTC, here to connect.
As always, guys, join our Pick'em for Hanna Engineering. That is out now on our social media pages. You can join that 11 games a week until we get down to the point where we don't have 11 like the state championship round. So join that. It's posted on our social pages, also on our website. You can be a part of that. It's a lot of fun. We do a separate playoff Pick'em prize. So appreciate our friends at Hanna Engineering for doing that. Shout out to our teams of the week. Gilbert, big win over Bishop England. Powdersville, big win over Woodruff Central. Big win over Saluda. And James Island, big win over Carolina Forest. Those are our teams of the week, brought to you by the Preferred Home Services. Our playoff performers insured by the Georgia HC. We've got a great blog on our website, on our social pages, listing all of the great performances from last week. As always, if you send us a stat line, if you see somebody go off, send it to us on email or Facebook or whatever. We'll shout them out on our recap show. We'll put them in the blog. Continue to do that, please, and continue to help us give these kids some love when they show out on the grass on Friday night. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. John, any thoughts from you on round 3 here and what we got coming up this week?
Just looking forward to a lot of games that really, really good teams that could go either way. A lot of teams got a chance to win the state championship this week, but some of them are going to lose Friday.
They certainly are. As always, guys, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. MovinChains.com is our website, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Each and every Tuesday, we do a preview show about 7:15 on Facebook and YouTube. We break down that upcoming week's games. Hope you guys will join us for that. For our upper and lower state championship preview show next week, will be a lot of fun to break down those matchups. We do our recap pod that comes out on Sunday night, Monday morning. We have great coach interviews, player interviews, all kinds of great stuff throughout the week. We had a lot of interviews from last week. Yeah, we caught the Dylan Newberry game, also all the SCHSFB state titles. So a lot of player interviews on our social pages. Check those out. Support those guys there. Get your Movin The Chains merch. We got some great T-shirts right now. A black one, a gray one, a navy blue. I'm wearing the navy blue right now, actually. A gray and a pink as well. You can order these at mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. You can order yours today. Great Christmas presents as well. If you want to get one for your significant other, for your son, your daughter, your mom, dad, whatever, order these for Christmas. We'll get you that shipping, get them to you in time. We got a great hoodie here. This color, also kind of a gray color as well. Love to have you support us with that. We got great toboggans, a gray one and a black one. I believe this is the last gray one in stock. So if you want it, get it now. We're running really low on those. Great Richmond hats as well. The black one up here, the gray bill with the kind of gray back, the gray bill with the black back. Lots of great hats. Really good, high-quality stuff too, John. And, John, we wear ours a lot, obviously, at the games, and it always looks great, and I feel like it feels great as well.
Oh, yeah. Especially as it gets colder. Need it.
We certainly do. Jerel, any comments from you? You put it up there. You can obviously email mtcgear.sc@gmail.com to order yours or message us on social media. Love to get it hooked up. And also, if we go to a game, we typically have a little bit in the trunk of the car as well. So we'll sell it out the trunk, old school hustling style there if you want something. So definitely ask us if you see us for sure. But Jerel, comments from you on this round 3 we have coming up here.
No, great show, guys. Sorry about my connection tonight. Kind of just making it work. Back
Cheese
home.
grater.
Just got home about, like I said, I guess 2 hours ago now. But it was a lot of fun. Excited about third round, man. Heavyweight matchups. This is my favorite round of the playoffs. You see some really high quality games here, some potential upsets. Going to see a couple blowouts as well, but I really think you get some quality matchups here. So a lot of fun. Go out, support your local school. Said winding up the season here. We only got 2 more shows, so it's a lot of fun. Getting close to handing out some trophies, and I know we did so in skis last weekend.
Yeah, great point, Jerel. Skis state title last week. Hats off to Hammond, Richard Wynn at PD Academy, Pinewood Prep, and Thomas Hayward Academy getting those skis state titles. And I wanted to say what you said there about supporting these kids. That's huge, man. Go out to these games on Friday. This is a holiday week. What else you got to do on Friday? Go check them out, man. Don't watch I think the Black Friday NFL game is like midday. Don't watch that. Go check out the local high school, man. If you're back in your hometown, go see them. If you're back where you live now, go check those guys out too, man. They deserve your support, and it's going to be some high-level football at this point for sure.
Yeah, and you Gamecock fans or even the Clemson fans that are coming up here, the upstate, a lot of good games.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the annual game right up the road. That'll be a fun one. Spartanburg-Gaffney will be a really fun game.
Spartanburg jail man.
Spartanburg
Gaffney
Jail Man.
Hanna. Yep.
Yeah, Gaffney Hanna. Okay, there you go. 2 really good games there in the upstate. 2 more good games in the upstate there. So, yeah, ton of good football all around the state.
Yeah, and let me be the first to wish you and your families happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And while you're sitting around the table, maybe you want to talk a little high school football, tell them to check out Movin The Chains. Put us on put them on some game. Help them to check us out. Love to have them checking out our show as well. So happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Look forward to talking to everybody next week. Movin The Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. This has been our round 3 South Carolina High School Football Playoff Preview Show. For Jerel, Hendricks, and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Tigers.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter /X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Move.